Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. So, we have defeated Giovanni and stopped the gambling ring underneath the game corner. We have defeated Erica and gotten the Sylph Scope. So now it is time to check out their deeds in Lavender Town. But first, we have to roll that title card. Lamenting in Lavender Town. As Roxas makes his way out of the Rocket headquarters, Sylph Scope in hand, he is perturbed by Giovanni and the conversation that they had. While he is proud of himself for getting stronger, he couldn't understand what Giovanni could mean by him being aware of his battling lineage. His father had raised Pokemon, that's for sure, but his mother always told him that he was a scientist, doing research on Pokemon and how they can further benefit the world and learning all of their different abilities in a more simpler time. But beyond that, his mother didn't raise Pokemon, and how would Giovanni know his father? All of this upset him, but he wasn't going to have this distract his mind. He had to first get out, and with one final rocket, locking down the area as he knew that police would be coming, he threatened Roxas not being able to leave unless he defeats him in a battle. Roxas, however, found his attempt utterly in vain, as he had already defeated Giovanni in a fight. Why would then one of his grunts be any different? With Flare now being poisoned and the battle proving difficult, Roxas was able to use her fire to blast a hole straight through the ceiling, and climbing up an escape rope made it to outside the game corner, police pouring in, and with a quick beat of Huntress's wings, they soared back to the Pokemon Center, making sure that Flare wasn't harmed. On the flight back, Roxas thinks on the Sylph Scope. Seems to be just a more advanced high-tech VR goggles sort of situation. Could these really help him see ghost-type Pokemon? He had heard that Agatha, one of the Elite Four members, was so in tune with her Pokemon that even after their death, she was able to wield them as the ghostly Pokemon. But going nervously into the Pokemon Tower, Pikachu is very unsettled and perturbed by the idea of ghosts. With Sora saying that he came to pay his respects to Butterfree, Roxas just ends up in a fury, and after a short argument, Roxas saying it's just disrespectful of him to come and want to pay respects to Butterfree, the Pokemon whose life was snuffed out by his overly aggressive battling style. Peekaboo, finding her courage in the eerie spookiness of the tower, unleashes a thunderbolt capable of paralyzing the bird, and not wanting to let up, blasts another electrical surge towards the Fearow, who, despite being paralyzed, manages to dodge it and levies an absolute barrage of Fury attacks. And then Pikachu, still wanting to fight, Roxas felt it too nerve-wracking to keep Peekaboo here. So with a quick retreat, Princess, with her bulk, appears, the wall to brace the physical attacks. With one swift kick, Flare, Peekaboo, and all the others gain experience. Roxas, unsure now of what to do, uses a super potion on Peekaboo, while a water-based clamp on the ground type Nidoqueen runs the risk of Nidoqueen being trapped. With another electrical surge from Pikachu, the shelter is no more. I do have to say that, just out of narration for a second, I'm not sure I was meant to use potions in battle, so I do apologise for that little oversight there, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the Nuzlocke there. But I think I just forgot that one rule while I was recording, so my bad. Sora does mention that he got that Vulpix as well from the game corner. Roxas says, are you not aware that those Pokemon are captured and sold to profiteer Team Rocket's criminal activity? Sora just shrugs. A pet store is a pet store, Roxas. Like, you know, better I take care of the Pokemon out of that situation than leave it there to languish and suffer under Team Rocket's hands, no? And I mean, you also took a Flare. You also took a Vulpix. You're honestly going to sit there and try and judge me when you do the exact same thing. His Eevee appears and with a quick jolt of nimble quickness slams into Princess, with Princess then taking the small fox and Sizer tossing it across the tower, and then running up to deliver a follow-up double kick to take out the Pokemon. Of course not to the death. Roxas doesn't go around KOing Pokemon. Then Sora ends up going on a bit of a discussion with Roxas, saying that Team Rocket seems to have hunted the maternal Pokemon Marowak to near extinction, leaving orphaned Cubone languishing around the tower, and the ghosts of the Marowak and other discarded Pokemon to become restless. Roxas, now equipped with the Sylph Scope, is nearly stunned into silence. There he can see the spectral shape of Butterfree. Chrysalis comes over to playfully lick at Sunny. However, its new spectral form leaves Sunny terrified. In its frustration, it tries to use its psychic abilities, resulting in a ghostly attack called Nightshade. Not wanting to hurt its previous partner and companion, Butterfree, Roxas aims for a gentle Vine Whip, doing minimal damage, and with then it being put into a peaceful slumber, Roxas throws a Pokeball, reuniting Trainer and his once Caterpie, then Butterfree. With a scan of the Pokedex, it reads, Ghastly, the gas Pokemon, said to appear in decrepit, deserted buildings. It has no real shape, as it appears to be made of a gas. Editor, the recusant here as well. I end up swapping Ghastly for Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen was typically our normal and fighting tank. Ghastly doubles as a tank for those types, because it is immune to both those types, as well as being able to have powerful special attacks and the ability to use Psychic. So we now kind of have Ghastly on the team, and I just like the idea of this being the reincarnation of Chrysalis who has returned to the party cohesion with its previous companions. And as I say, with a special stat of 47, we are not going to be left wanting. It has confusion abilities, and Nightshade, doing its exact level and damage, will obviously only get more and more powerful as we level up and go further. But Roxas returning to the tower, as once again Sora's conversation around Team Rocket hunting Marowak and leaving these orphaned Cubones missing their mothers has awakened the Pokemon spirits, and channelers who have gone in to try and quell and quiet the spirits of the ghosts have in fact only led to them being possessed, and the ghosts themselves, releasing themselves from the channelers, challenge Roxas to a fight. Pikachu being fully paralysed by the ghost type Pokemon's lick attacks, and then with confusion on top of that, Pikachu finds itself nearly completely debilitated. But like a light within the darkness, its Thunderbolt shines brightly, nearly causing the ghost Pokemon to disappear in its radiant light as it cracks into their ghastly and ghostly visages. The channeler, now being released, says, "Goodness, the Pokemon have been very disturbed. We must send someone up, someone who's a much more capable battler than ours. Maybe it takes someone with those mysterious goggles to be able to see and combat these ghosts." Using his medicine to make sure his Pokemon are in tip-top form, Roxas again confronts the other channelers, not only because he's competitive and it's part of my challenge that if I'm in a zone that have lots of enemies, I have to challenge all the trainers before I can move on. But now seeing if Butterfree, the now reincarnated Ghastly, can take on the challenge of fighting Ghost type with Ghost type. Unfortunately, the HP of Ghastly is so low that too many Nightshades will cause Ghastly to faint. And the last thing we want with this reunion is to end up with Chrysalis KOing again. With Huntress then arriving in, and now with its new flying type attack, it is able to hit Ghost Pokemon. And one other quick thing to note is that Nightshade is technically a typeless move. It is a Ghost type move, but it just does set damage. And set damage moves ignore types. So Sonic Boom can hit Ghost types, Nightshade can hit normal types, Dragon Rage, etc. So it's just an interesting little tidbit there. But as Roxas begins to ascend the tower, more and more channelers, their eyes glazed over, Roxas needs to end their possession as more and more Ghastly appear, leaving their human vessels to fight in anger. And all of these ghost types nearly are furious at Butterfree for choosing to re-side with the living. However, Splishy, the then Magikarp who wasn't able to fight to protect Splishy in life, will fight fiercely to make sure that Chrysalis in its ghostly form is protected from harm. Peekaboo herself is just beside herself with joy at being able to see Butterfree again, but also slight sadness at the fact that its friend is, now a ghost type. But Splishy, persevering nearly to death, just refusing to be outdone by these ghost type Pokemon, but their strategies of confusion and powerful hits with Nightshade proved to just be a tough storm to weather. Using Sunny's sleep powder, Roxas plans to then be able to pivot into another Pokemon, namely Butterfree, to allow him to get more experience and more use to his ghostly abilities. With a powerful Nightshade and kind of knowing that the HP scores of Ghastlies are quite low, one Nightshade was enough to deal substantial damage to the Butterfree, or to the Ghastly. And now with another Ghastly in the wings, Huntress and her strong flying attacks is going to have to carry us through this encounter. And with a good use of type differentials, Ghastly went for a Lick Attack, and since that is actually a Ghost type move, the only working Ghost type move, Huntress is unaffected by their ghostly abilities, and Chrysalis gaining some battle experience, being able to gain a level there. Roxas going around finding useful items within the tower and finding another wild Ghastly. Again, unusual that Butterfree appears as a spectral Butterfree to Roxas, but these other Ghastly are just Ghastlies to him. There's no other spectral connection. Perhaps it's the case where only the trainers of these particular Pokemon, if they had Go Goggles, they would see their past partners in their old form. But to strangers, they just look like Ghastly. However, even at level 19, their Confusion and Nightshade combinations prove overwhelming to Roxas, and his entire team end up getting wounded, paralyzed and confused, and weakened down and down and down, to the point where, you know, a Nightshade from that Ghastly would have put Flare into the red. With Huntress proving to be the only capable Pokemon with flying type attacks that are strong physically to be able to hit the physically frail ghosts. It's clear that for Roxas, Huntress, you know, will be important for them getting through and getting by these particular trials. Escape roping out of the tower and back to the Pokemon Center, Roxas returns to the first floor, challenging one other trainer that he had missed on his first ascension. With this Ghastly proving once again even more powerful, Roxas determines that it is important for him to take time and take stock and maybe train in a weaker area that he would have trained in before, to better level himself and prepare himself to ascend the tower more correctly. But that's pretty much going to be this episode, guys. An awful lot of good progress made. The fact that we managed to get a Ghastly as the encounter, and you know, we're able to have that storyline beat of Chrysalis being united in death back with the party, is just pretty awesome, and I'm quite happy. So that's been our episode. I hope you guys enjoy, and sure, leave a comment on how you feel about this latest development, and I will chat to you next time. Have a good one.